So my name is Andrew Frank, and the book I am going to be analyzing is "Their Eyes Were Watching God" by Zora Neale Hurston, and I'm going to be analyzing it using the psychoanalytical lens for the theme. And in this book, a theme that I had found, the theme that I'm going to be discussing, is that in our world, people will always have this sort of inner gnawing desire for power somewhere in the back of their mind. So this causes divisions in our society, obviously, because the constant need to be on top is mutually shared by everyone. And if there's something that's a limited resource, not everyone can have it, obviously. This is the tragedy of the commons. So this idea is first strongly reflected when Janie's second husband, Jody, or often referred to as Joe, states that he believes he should do all the talking and that Janie should be quiet in the context of giving a speech to the town. He wants to subdue Janie as to assert his dominance to the people and to Janie. Hurston writes, "The burst of applause was cut short by Joe taking the floor himself." 43. Joe then continues to explain that his wife doesn't know anything about giving speeches and that he should be the one to do it himself. This is perhaps a more subtle example of the theme, but it does relate pretty clearly. Jody does everything he can to be on top, right? He wants to be the one in control in every single way, even over little things like this. Even over his wife. This shows how a subconscious desire for power can actually have serious consequences. Even though Jody is shown out, or starts by being shown as this sort of kind gentleman, his need for power makes him turn on the one he loves. So later in the book, after Jody's death, Janie moves on to marry a man named Tea Cake, who's much younger, not as rich, very different than Jody in almost every way. And he seems much more kind and gentle initially, but is later revealed to be fairly abusive. This really shows his need to be in control and to have power over her. Tea Cake wants to prove that he is in charge to other people and to himself even. In the author's words, being able to whip her reassured him in possession. No brutal beating at all. He just slapped her around, but to show he was boss. End quote. Hurston, 147. So Tea Cake, not unlike Jody, desperately wants to be in control. In fact, so much so that he resorts to hurting Janie, his wife. Tea Cake is shown at first to be sort of the antithesis of Jody, but in the end, this shared driving force of a desire for power makes them not too far apart. Near the climax of the book, however, this is where his character gets a little bit of development. In an act that could be construed as valor, even, Tea Cake risks his life to save Janie from a wild dog. And though this may seem somewhat kind at first, when it's truly examined a little bit closer, it's pretty easy to see that Tea Cake really just wants to prove himself as top dog. So the author describes this in a heroic but gritty way, writing, "Tea Cake rose out of the water at the cow's rump and seized the dog by the neck. But he was a powerful dog, and Tea Cake was overtired, so he didn't kill the dog with one stroke, as he intended." End quote. Hurston, 166. So this is an example of how power hunger is easy to miss at first. Tea Cake seems to just have wanted to save Janie, but it is clear that he really did want to prove himself and be top dog, almost metaphorically. I think this is really reflected in that last part of it, with him wanting to kill the dog in one stroke. That was his goal, sort of to show that he could do it and that he was capable of this. So, yeah, to restate the theme, everyone deep down has a subconscious desire for power, to be the one in charge, to be free, which is an idea actually reflected throughout the entire novel with Janie's whole journey. But the farther someone goes, the more they will need to assert themselves as on top, as having a power. And And this clearly relates to the psychoanalytical lens, seeing that it shows the subconscious wants and desires for society and this driving force of power. Thank you very much.